What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new live stream. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Having a good week so far. We got some film news to talk about. NBA draft is officially over. We got free agency next. And the Giannis trade finally happened. So we'll talk about all that stuff. Probably not going to be a very long live. We'll start with the film news first, but I got to get the page pulled up. I believe this is where we left off last time. Okay, Toy Story 5 officially has 2 post-credit scenes. Okay. Final season, Outer Banks will be released on August 20th. That show is not that good. I tried watching the first season and I just quit after the first 3 episodes because it was just so boring and just not interesting. It's pretty cool. A Grinch sequel is officially in the works with Jim Carrey returning. So that's pretty cool. Spider-Man Brand New Day had one of the biggest pre-sales of all time. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Tickets are selling out like crazy. Because it's Spider-Man. Film managed to pull 35 million in the first 24 hours. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, excited for this movie. Trailers look good. Obsession is now one of the most profitable movies of all time. Earned 300 million worldwide on a 750K budget. That is insane. Toy Story 6 will be the end of Bonnie's trilogy. Wow, so they're doing a Toy Story 6. Wow. Tom Hanks says he didn't know Woody and Jesse were siblings. Yeah, I didn't know that either, honestly. I haven't seen the movies in a long time, so. Spider-Man Brand New Day will have no connection to Avengers Doomsday. Okay, good to know. Might be a good thing, actually. Pixar always foreshadows their next films. All right, so this could be interesting. Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc. Okay. Monsters Inc. I don't even remember this. Finding Nemo. Some of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. Wow, some of these details I've never noticed. It's 2006. Yeah, how have I never noticed some of these details? Toy Story 5 has made 125% of its 250 million budget in just 48 hours. I heard people saying it's good, which kind of surprised me, but new plot details for DC's upcoming film dynamic duo. Follows Dick Grayson and Jason Todd as pair of street rats. The duo split up as Dick joins Batman and Jason joins the Red Hood gang. Okay, interesting. Tom Holland says only one person in the MCU remembers Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Oh, wow. Wonder who it is. Are We There Yet 3 is officially in the works with Ice Cube returning. It's going to be titled Are They Gone Yet? So I wonder why it's titled that. Yeah, but both those movies were hilarious back then. So we'll see, how much it's changed. I hope it's not like forgot the name of the movie. It starred Adam Sandler. God, why can't I remember it? Jeremy Renner is back as Hawkeye in Avengers Doomsday. Other reactions to Supergirl call it one of DC's best films yet. That's not saying much. Only superhero movie in IMAX this summer. That's kind of sad. See their Toy Story movie ranking. So last place, Lightyear. Did not know they counted that as a top Toy Story movie, but that's in last place. In fifth, Toy Story 4. That makes sense. I heard it wasn't that good. Fourth place, Toy Story 2. Number 3, Toy Story 5. Number 2, the original. And number 1, Toy Story 3. I agree with that. I think that's the best one. That should have been the ending to Toy Story because it had such a perfect ending. Okay, now this is weird. Elodie Young will officially return as Elektra in Daredevil Born Again Season 3. It has been 10 years since her last appearance, a whole decade. Yeah, so I actually just finished Daredevil season 2. Saw the finale. The finale was phenomenal. Um, Pretty sure she dies in the finale, but I guess like the hand brings her back. And I did not watch Defenders. I just went straight into season 3, and I got confused on like the whole like Matt Murdock stuff on how he's separated from Foggy and Karen, and they both think he's dead. And the season 2 finale ended with him telling Karen that he is Daredevil. But then in season 3, so far, he's trying to leave the Daredevil part of him behind, and doesn't wear the suit anymore. He's back to the guy in the black mask, like he was in season 1. Which I'm like, your Daredevil suit has body armor that protects you from bullets, so you're kind of putting yourself more at risk here. But okay, but it does, symbolizes, the arc that he's going down. But yeah, I'm on season 3, episode 4. Enjoying it so far. But yeah, see what they do with her character in Born Again. Yeah. Invincible has officially been renewed for season 6, and season 5 isn't even out yet. But you had Dinosaurus here, so I assume Dinosaurus is going to be a big part of season 6. We already know that he's going to be a big part of season 5, based on the comics anyway. And then they're adding Jack Quaid, Huey Campbell to the cast as a Gravitator, so his character will be interesting. So another voice actor that was also in The Boys, because the actress who voiced Anissa played Rebecca in The Boys season 2, and across the show. What else we got? Okay, there's a new Ghostbusters animated series. Cool. The re-release of Avengers Endgame will officially be titled Endgame Encore. Okay. Okay, and then pretty much caught up. So yeah. All right, but onto the sports stuff. Giannis is officially out of Milwaukee. He's headed to the Miami Heat along with Bobby Portis. Bucks in return get Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jaime Jaquez, Jakub Jonas, pick 13, 2 first-round picks, 1 pick swap, and a second-round pick. It's actually a pretty solid return for Giannis. Get as much draft capital as possible. Plus, you get some young guys out of it, like Khalil Ware. He's got potential to be your starting center of the future. You got Jaquez, a solid player. Jakub Jonas, good playmaker. You got pick 13 So you got 2 first-round picks in the lottery. Excuse me. So I think this will be a win-win for both teams. Bucks can finally start their rebuild and not be stuck in purgatory, which is the worst place to be in the NBA. And then the Heat, I think Giannis does elevate them to a contender. Plus, you get Bobby Portis out of it. It's a good, shooting big man who offers defense and rebounding as well. So I like this trade for both teams. I'm glad the Celtics didn't get him. I would have hated that. The fit would have just made no sense. And it just wasn't necessary. Jaylen Brown's not going anywhere. So I'm glad that I'm still mad that we even offered him in the trade. I think Brad Stevens is a moron for doing that. But all we can do now is just hope Jaylen Brown doesn't take it personally and, ask out. I hope not, but best case scenario is he uses it as motivation to win us another chip next year. But East could look more competitive next year. I'd say the Knicks and Heat should be the favorites to make the East Finals. We'll see how the Heat address the depth around Giannis, because that is a bit of a concern. But Giannis and Bam are going to be a fun duo defensively. That's for sure. I mean, going to be an elite defensive duo. Going to see some crazy dunks. So it's going to be very entertaining. We're going to see Giannis versus Paulo in Florida. So that'll be fun. But we will get to the draft. So I got to pull up ESPN for that. Which the second round should be over by now, but kind of surprised. There were some surprise picks. All right, but starting off the first round, I actually started 8 for 8 with my picks. The first one I got wrong was pick 9, but we'll get to it later. But the Wizards select AJ DeBonsta, forward out of BYU. I'll give it an A. Just a very obvious pick. So that's why I'm not giving it an A+, but still deserves an A. Very good player out of BYU. So he'll be fun to watch. But I love what the Wizards are building. I think he's going to be a really good player for them. 6'9". But, he says right here, attacking downhill and mid-range. So a very fun player to watch. I think he fits perfect with the Wizards. Wizards have a ton of versatile wings that can play defense and score. They might have to make some tough decisions, though, because it's kind of a log jam at that position, because you have him now. Keyshawn George, Will Riley, Koulibaly. Like there's a log jam and that position. So they'll have to figure something out, but I think he's going to be a great player for them. So I give it an A. And then the second pick, the Jazz take Darren Peterson, second overall. He's an elite combo scoring guard. There was a legit argument of him going first overall and being the best prospect in this class. But he does have some injury concerns. But which I forgot to say for Debance. Debance still reminds me a lot of Jaylen Brown. But same thing happened last year, happened this year. Ace Bailey did not want to go to Utah, but Danny Ainge is like, nope, frick you, I'm taking you anyway. Does the same thing here. Just Camp made it clear he did not want to go to Utah, but once again, Danny Ainge doesn't care. I'm drafting you anyway. So if Danny Ainge wants you on his team, you don't have a choice. Unless you're a free agent, of course. But he's a good perimeter defender. He's a good scorer. So I think he's going to be really good for them. The Jazz could be pretty competitive next year. They get Walker Kessler back. You got Jaren Jackson back, fully healthy. Lauri Markkanen, elite 3-and-D wing, who could rebound as well. Keontae George had a really good year. He's a good player. Pairing him up next to Darren Peterson. Nowhere near a title contender, obviously, but can be a competitive team. I think they should make the play-in. Maybe they can sneak into the playoffs as an 8 seed, but I'm excited to watch the Jazz next year. I'll give it an A as well. And then the Grizzlies get Cam Boozer, 6'9" power forward, can play a little bit of center out of Duke. Now people are going to clown him for that last play he had against UConn in March Madness. But outside of that, he had a great year. He won the Naismith Player of the Year as a freshman. That's pretty impressive. They get their Jaren Jackson replacement here. Love that for them. But he's a good defender. He's a monster inside the paint. So I'll give this like an A as well. And then the Bulls take Caleb Wilson, power forward out of North Carolina, the rival of Duke, 6'10". He's probably the best defender in the class. Love what the Bulls are cooking so far. Actually taking this rebuild seriously. So I think the Bulls, can pull off a successful rebuild here. But he's got great energy, explosive, can rebound, play defense. Can't shoot very well. So, hopefully he can, get better at that. But, I think Siakam's a good comparison here. But I'll also give this one an A. Cam Boozer, I'm not really sure who to compare him to. I guess his dad, Carlos Boozer, probably. And then I was actually surprised I got this one right. Keaton Wagler to the Clippers. He's a shooting guard, 6'6", 180 pounds. Pretty solid prospect. Definitely top 10 prospect. See his weaknesses, average length, needs to add physical strength to realize his full capabilities. Okay. But I think he could start right away or come off the bench and, transition into a starter. But Clippers should probably start a rebuild. The Kawhi era failed, unfortunately. But this pick, I'll probably just give like a B-. Not the best player available, but good fit. And then Brooklyn took Mikal Brown Jr., point guard of Louisville. He's a pretty solid player, bit underrated. I view him as a top 10 prospect. But pairing him next to Yegor Demon in Brooklyn should be interesting. But Keaton Wagler, I keep forgetting to do player comparisons. A little bit of Halliburton, I guess. Mikael Brown Jr. I'm not really sure who to compare him to. I guess LaMelo Ball. I guess I don't know, but I'll give this a B plus. But Darius Akoff at 7 Kings. Feel bad he's going to Sacramento, but at least he'll be a starter right away. He has a clear path to start him there. I'd probably take him over, these two. But, Sacramento finally gets a point guard of the future, finally replacing De'Aaron Fox. They had Halliburton at one point. Not a great defender, but he's a really good scorer. A lot of people thinking that he's the next Tyrese Maxey because a bunch of teams passed on Tyrese Maxey in the 2020 draft. He ended up being really good, so I can see that here. I'll give it an A. And then the Hawks at 8 via the Pelicans take Kinston Flemings, 6'4" guard out of Houston. Had a pretty crazy breakout season. Solidified himself as a top 10 prospect. There's a lot of hype of him, saying like, oh, he's a top 5 prospect, and nobody was talking about him for a while. But yeah, probably start off the bench for Atlanta. I could see him being a starter eventually, but he'll have CJ McCollum as a mentor. He's a good veteran, ton of playoff experience. And then at 9, the Mavericks took Morez Johnson Jr. I'm going to give it a C-. Not a bad prospect. I think he's a good prospect. But there's 2 other Michigan players that are better than him that you took him over. Yaxel Lenderberg, Ade Mara. They should have went with those guys instead, but instead they went with him. I don't think he will start in Dallas right away. Maybe he ends up starting at the 4 if they trade PJ Washington. But he'll probably get back up 4 or 5. But it's a good player. He's reuniting with his coach in Dallas, but just not the best value pick, in my opinion. The Bucks take Braden Burries, guard out of Arizona. Reminds me a little bit of Derek White. Well-rounded combo guard, solid shooter, plays both ends of the floor. It's perfect. I think Bucks fans are going to love him. He's one of my favorite prospects in this class. I'm going to give it an A. Their other pick I was not a fan of, but love the fit there in Milwaukee. But number 11, the Golden State Warriors take Yaxel Lenderberg, power forward center out of Michigan, 6'9", 240 pounds. He's got great versatility, handle, pass and shoot, play in transition, defend all over the floor. So I do like that. But he is a little bit of an older prospect. He's going to be 24 later this year. But he should be a win now type of player for Golden State, and they need win now players for Steph. They need to maximize this window before Steph calls it a career. It's going to be very hard to do in a very tough Western Conference. Yeah, I'm going to give this one an A. Love it. And then don't know how the league keeps letting the Thunder get away with highway robbery, but they select his teammate Ade Mara, 7'3" center of Michigan. So you have another big they can throw at Wemby. That's crazy. Great at the rim. He's an outstanding passer, quick processor. Excels playing out of 2-man actions. He's not the most mobile defender, though, but his size makes him a quality defensive deterrent around the basket. So they can either – I assume they're going to decline Hartenstein's team option, but they could get him back for cheap, or they can just let him walk and start Ade Mara. I think he's a day one starter. So, yeah, OKC going to get an A+ for this one. And then the Bucks took Nate Ament via the Heat's trade, the Giannis trade. I'm probably gonna sound brutal when I say this. I am gonna give it a D plus. Just not the best value pick here. He's just not that good of a prospect. He has some potential, but inefficient scoring. Just 43% of 2-point attempts. That's pretty low. And he struggles finishing as well. That's not a good sign. So, I hope he can develop and prove people wrong, but I just don't love this pick. 6'10" wing out of Tennessee. I just don't love it. And then I kind of expected this one. Heinz Steinbach to the Hornets. I'll give it a B plus. He's a good shooter, like a good floor spacing big. Play power forward, a little bit of center. Really good rebounder, 11.8 rebounds. That's pretty good. But I'll give it a B plus for Charlotte. Then outside of the lottery, Dalen Swain to the Bulls. I'll give it an A minus. He's a good wing, criminally underrated. He can shoot. Skill is 3-point shooting, but he struggles with confidence, long range at times. But that can be improved upon. So yeah, I'm giving it an A minus. I think he could end up starting as shooting guard for Chicago. But yeah, the Bulls have cooked. And then for whatever reason, the Grizzlies trade Bennett Sturts to the Thunder. But yeah, it's a solid player. Worst outcome, he's a backup point guard, but this guy can hoop. One of the best shooters in the draft. 6'4". I didn't realize he was that tall. 190 pounds, but yeah, probably could play a little shooting guard. And then Ibuka Okori, I believe he got traded to Detroit. So he goes to the Pistons, but 6'2", 185. Elusive, plays low to the ground, changes pace effectively, has good feel for getting to his spots. He's a bit on the smaller side, so that could be a problem defensively. But he's a really good, he's a good shooter, but he can be a bit streaky when it comes to threes. But solid player, give it a B minus. Then the Hornets get Christian Anderson from Texas Tech, so they lose Kobe White in free agency. He'd step up as their backup point guard. He's an outstanding 3-point shooter. So that's pretty good. And, he does his best, despite his size, makes the most of it on defense. But he is kind of small for a guard, 6'3", 178 pounds. The Raptors take Allen Graves from Santa Clara. I'll give it a C minus. Probably should have went point guard or backup center for Pirtle, or a center that can start over Pirtle. But not a bad prospect. I think it'll be solid, but I just felt like they could have pivoted in a different direction here. But kind of lacks explosiveness a bit, but give it a C minus. Then the Spurs, they get Jaden Quentins, center/power forward from Kentucky, 6'10". Does have some injury concerns, but the defensive potential is there. Like, if he reaches his potential defensively, like, him and Wemby are going to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, him at power forward, Wemby at center, that's going to be really hard to score on. But Memphis gets Kareem Lopez. I believe he's from New Zealand. Solid player. Weakness, perimeter shooting, ball handling that needs to work on, but solid defender. So you see the Grizzlies walk away with Cam Boozer and Kareem Lopez. That is very good for them. And then this kind of surprised me. LeBaron Philon, who's one of the best guards in the country, falls to 22 to Philly. So he probably doesn't really have much of a chance to start because of Maxey and VJ, which they may end up running 3 guard lineups at times with probably VJ at the 3 and him at the 2. But 6'4", 185 in Alabama, I think it'll be a good backup point guard for them. But I think he deserves better than that, but that's just frustrating. Should have went way higher than that. And the Hawks, which that I'll give an A. Kareem Lopez, give like a B+. Jaden Quentin, so I'll just give a B. Zuby, I'm not even going to try and say that name right. I'm going to give it a C-. I did not expect him to go this high. I felt like they had better options here. Like you could have went with Chris Senek Jr. Or you could have taken another wing. But not a bad prospect. I did not expect him to go in round 1. Expecting him to go in round 2, but I think he'll be a decent player. And then the New York Knicks, for whatever reason, traded away Cam Carr to the Lakers. Not really sure why they did that, but I'll give it an A-. Cam Carr is a really good shooter. So I think it'll be a great scorer off the bench in LA. I think he'll fit right next to Luka. Can be a bit streaky at times, but, if he can stay consistent, then, good for him. And then for whatever reason, Denver traded away Terrence Reed Jr. to the Spurs. You could have used him as a backup center for Jokic, or you could have ran double big lineups with him at the 4 and Jokic at the 5. So not really sure why the Nuggets did that, but 6'11", big out of UConn. So the Spurs get upgrades at the center position and Quentin's and Terrence Reed. Took just 7 threes in college. That's wild. But it's got great size, 6'11", 265 pounds. I think it'll be great for San Antonio. So I'll give it B+. Then I love this pick for my Celtics. Chris Senek Jr. falls right into our laps. I've been wanting him for a while, before, the draft even started like a year ago, looking into him. But I'm so happy we got him. 6'11", 240 pounds, got great length. He's an excellent defender, great rebounder, can hit threes occasionally. So we needed size, and he's got great size. 6'11", 240 pounds, exactly what we needed. So, got to give him minutes, let him develop, gain that experience. But I'm really excited for this pick. I'm going to give it an A+. Just hope he stays healthy. And, yeah. And then the Nets via the Timberwolves take Joshua Jefferson. I was hoping to go to a contender like the Wolves. Yeah, I'll give it a B. Versatile defender and very physical power forward. The issue is he can do everything but shoot. He's not a good shooter. But, he can work on it. So that's really my only concern, but we shall see. And then, fortunately, for Alex Caravan, he's heading to the Kings. Sneaks into the first round. He's a good floor spacer. He can cut. It's just unfortunate that he's going to a bad team. Felt like he should have went to a contender like the Knicks. I think it would have been a great fit in New York. But lacks agility and explosion. But I think he'll be a solid player. It's just unfortunate he's going to the Kings. And then I'll give it I'll just give it a C. And then the Suns trade up into the first round and grab Koa Pete, keeping him in the state of Arizona. I'm gonna give this an A minus. I think this is a great pick for the Suns. You keep him local. He's 6'8", 235 pounds. They need size. They need a power forward that can rebound, and he certainly fits the bill. He's physical, competitive, he can bully smaller players inside 15 feet. He's versatile defensively, quick enough to defend perimeter plays, strong enough to put a body on bigs, but lack of a reliable jump shot. But hey, you got Devin Booker and Grayson Allen, so I don't think that should be too much of an issue. But yeah, I love this pick for the Suns. And then we will look at round 2. So Richie Saunders fell to Memphis. I was shocked. Isaiah Evans fell out of the first round entirely. I did not expect that at all. Because I had him at least going in the top 20 in my mock drafts. So I'm kind of surprised he didn't go in round 1 at all. And then Malik Thomas goes to Cleveland via the Kings trade. He's a really good shooter. Bubba Miller to the Clippers. He's got great size. 6'11", 225 pounds out of Cincinnati. Braden Smith to Chicago. Another great pick for the Celtics. Dylan Mitchell, 6'8", 210 pounds from St. John's. He's got a strong frame, great defensive versatility. So we're getting better on defense. Hopefully actually gets an opportunity to prove himself. Creates extra possessions defensively and on glass. Weakness, offers very little offensively. Nearly everything coming at the rim, and lacks a reliable jump shot after 4 years of college. That is a bit of concern. But, we have a bunch of guys who can shoot the basketball. Then I was surprised to see Henry Vesar, who had as a first-round pick, a late first-round pick, fall all the way to 52. I did not expect that. But he's going to go to the Hawks. He's somewhat stiff-hipped and is the most mobile defender, quick off the floor, which will limit him to drop coverage defensively. It's on the lighter side for a player his size and sometimes struggles with physicality and rebounding. And then Timberwolves get whoever this guy is, Trey Kaufman, 6'9", at Purdue. It's not a lot on not a lot of players I recognize, but and then last pick, Malik Willis to Orlando. But yeah, that is the draft for you. Yeah, next up, free agency. So, covered our main topics, talked about the Giannis trade, talked about the draft. So free agency always starts on July 6th, I think, which some players have already signed their deals, like Ayo Dosunmu, CJ McCollum, Trae Young, etc. Like, you're allowed to re-sign your players. You just can't go negotiate with other players because then it'd be called tampering. Which I believe, like, years ago, the Lakers actually got fined for tampering with Paul George. Which I believe that's when Magic Johnson was in charge, I think. right? But probably gonna end it there. Just not much else to talk about. Um, Apologies for the short stream, but Invincible season ranking video coming out soon, and then The Boys will be right after that. I just finished rewatching Better Call Saul, so I finished that. Um, so next week, I want to do Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul character tier ranking list. So I think that'll be fun. And maybe in the future, I might rank the Breaking Bad universe. I think the El Camino movie would probably come last, because it's not bad, but it's a movie. Shows have more to show. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.